חגיגה, דף כ' עמוד א'. We're talking about the Tumah and Tahara, the most sweetest part of the Gemara right now. We said in the Mishnah, if you remember, we are worried about the Tumah in the Amharis. Who is Amharis? Amharis is the person who is not careful for the Tumah and the impurity and purity so much. So therefore, if somebody else is more careful about Tumah and Tahara, higher level, so it's going to become Tameh with somebody which is the lower level. Which means sometimes it's not a halakha, sometimes you are more careful about something. The other people that are not careful about it, you have to be worried and become Tameh. What we want to introduce today, something very interesting, that Hesech Hada'at, basically, if you're not paying attention to keep your Tahara, keep your purity, is going to become impure. Amar Rabbi Yonatan ben Elazar. We are holding by how many lines? 6, 10, maybe 12 lines from the top. First word Damo. Second word Amar Rabbi Yonatan ben Elazar. Nafla ma'afarto hemenu Amar lachavero tenali untanalo temea. So basically, somebody's sudar, handkerchief, fell down, okay? Whatever, piece of garment of him, fell down. And he told to his friend, which is not careful, trusted, when it comes to Tumah Tahara, give it to me, tenali. And he gave it to him, he picked it up and gave it to him. What's going to happen? It seems like the person becomes Tameh. Why? Because that second person, his friend, is not careful so much about purity, and he gave it to him without asking him, are you tahor or not? So therefore, he's gonna become tameh. Why? Because hesiach, he take his mind away. What does it mean? When he was in the hand of his friend, he did not pay attention to it, and he becomes tameh. Huh? Yeah. Afilu, his friend is tahor. Why? Okay. Because once you did not ask him, you are tahor or not, you are choshesh, maybe he is not, and you did not ask, you were supposed to ask him. You took your mind away, you come a lower level now, you become tameh. We're not talking about big tzaddik over here. Okay? Really, the Gemara says chavero. Even though he is ne'eman and tahorot, he trusted when it comes to Tumah Tahara. Over here, even though this guy is not Amharis, he's a very religious person, but the fact his mind went away and he not asked his friend before getting the handkerchief, are you tahor or not? It means he took his mind away from the purity and becomes tameh. Very interesting thing when it comes to Tumah Tahara. This is something I don't know if we have Beit HaMikdash tomorrow, how we're going to handle it. It's going to be very, very hard because we are not used to it. Maybe not, but we're going to see Be'ezrat Hashem. Even the Amharis those days, they were more careful than us these days. So we're going to see. It's not, you think Amharis means he doesn't know anything. That's not the case. You're going to see. Now, Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Amram. Rabbi Yochanan ben Amram said, Nitchalefu lo kelim shel Shabbat be kelim shel Chol. Wow. So you see from here, those days also they had certain clothings. Keli means begadim. Okay, keli doesn't mean utensil, vessel over here. Keli means begadim, clothings. So his clothings of Shabbat and the weekdays got mixed up. For example, he wanted to take the weekday clothings, okay, and he took Shabbat clothings, ulvashan, and he wore them, right? Nitmo, he becomes tummy. It's very hard.
Firstly, I had Sachadat, and he didn't realize that he's putting on the wrong clothes. So that means that he assumed he had Sachadat, and he might have become tummy.
What kind of Sachadat is this? It's very hard to understand. It seems from here the Gemara, in order to be pure, at the time you want to take something, the object, you have to know what you're taking.
So when you take out,
When you think it's something, okay, and it came out is something else, it's going to be a problem.
what happened if you take the corn out of
He
it?
got bigdei chol, something actually I think it's a machloket over here. What happened over here? Let's see Rashi. Rashi says he wanted to get bigdei chol, the weekdays, and he got shel Shabbat, right? That's what Rashi says. In his mind, he wanted to take weekday clothings. He took Shabbat clothings. That's the case, according to Rashi. So now Meiri says over here, same thing, but he says the other way also applies. Same thing. You wanted bigdei Shabbat, you got bigdei chol, you're gonna become tameh. Okay, it works both ways. Okay. So they don't machloket. So that's us to saying the same thing. One more time.
It's a little bit like the sugya that we had with the Ma'ot.
No, ma'ot, money could be different. Money has nothing to do with the being kadosh and being a tameh or not tameh.
Like in the terms of the sechadat, that you didn't know that he's using the Ma'ot of Kodesh, but he's still chayav.
Understand? But over there, what's the case over here? The clothing he took, let's say for Shabbat, he thought bigdei chol. I took Shabbat. Shabbat tameh or not?
If he wore them and he thought it's bigdei chol.
The bigdei Shabbat was tameh or not? What's the case?
When he wore them, they are. As long as he didn't wear them, they still not tameh.
Why would they become tummy just like that?
Now I'm saying clothing of the Shabbat he used, they were tameh or not?
Before?
Yeah, the one that he's wearing right now, he took it out from the...
No, I say once again. Why the person becomes tameh? Because the clothing he's wearing. The clothing itself is tameh or tahor before he wears them.
Oh.
Or tahor. So what's the problem?
That he had a sechadat.
Why is it that this is that? That's really hard to understand how it works.
Why does it come to the sechadat?
Yeah. So Rashi says nitmeu. Rashi says v'nimsa shehu davar acher eino shamur.
Yeah, אם אתה שומר משהו שאתה חושב שזה משהו אחד, and then you understand that it's a different thing, זה כאילו לא שמרת עליו.
Even though it's tahor.
Yes. Now let's say in this case.
Wow, it's very hard.
Regarding the clothes, and thinking the big default, huh?
Because you took it out by mistake and it's in the...
No, it's like what type of guarding is it? You don't even know what to guard.
Wow. Let's next case. Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Sadok Maaseh Bishten Nashim Chaverut. So there's a story about two women Chaverut, which they are very careful on Tahara. Shenitchalevu lahen kelehen bebet hamerchas. Wow.
Mixed up the clothes and
They went to the bathhouse and the clothing got mixed up.
so
Uva Maaseh life Rabbi Akiva betiman. Rabbi Akiva said they are tamena, both of them. Wow.
Yeah, well, became tameh because they wore it.
Understand? But both of them they are tahor. The clothing are tahor. The only thing is because they made a mistake, there's somebody else's clothing.
So
It makes them tameh.
The mistake automatically makes it a tameh.
Right.
So how to go to the mikveh if you want to wear your
It's
clothes?
really careful. That's what it means.
We never worked it in
Everything.
How many times we forget
What happens if you go to the mikveh and then you want to put on your same clothes as last time?
That doesn't matter. That's yours.
So if it's yours, you won't become tameh.
If you know which one you're wearing. If by mistake you take the regular one, you want a Shabbat one, then you're going to become tameh.
So if your friend made your clothes tameh and then after when you towel you wear them, then you're going to be yours.
Even if your friend didn't make the tameh, but you by mistake took his pants and he took your pants, but you both tahor. That fact that you switched between you guys make both of you tameh.
But the merchatz means the bathhouse or the mikveh?
Bathhouse.
Oh, so they're not going to the mikveh?
What's the difference? Same thing. Doesn't make a difference. The point is you wore somebody else's clothing or yours that you went shamur. They weren't thinking about it.
But if you, but you don't become tameh just by touching it.
No.
You have to wear the clothes.
Right.
But the clothes by touching it becomes.
These clothing are tahor. Just
No,
by
I'm talking about the one, the last one, the Shabbat. Just the
Same
fact that
thing.
He took it out. He made the clothes tameh, but he didn't become tameh.
No, it doesn't become tameh.
The moment he wore them, he becomes tameh.
Right.
But
As
just
long as-
touching is just the clothes.
No, I think if they decide to switch their clothing, nobody gonna become tameh.
Okay, they didn't have a sechadat.
Right.
They didn't know English.
If you say, you know what, let's change clothing, and both of them the chaverim, the chaverot, both of them are religious people, nothing become tameh. The only purpose, the only problem we have over here, you are wearing something that you don't want to wear.
You didn't pay enough attention.
Right.
That's the lesson, I guess.
Yeah.
So now you have to take it to mikveh?
What?
The clothing.
Clothing, forget the person becomes tameh.
He needs to go to the mikveh.
He has to
But
go.
you have to take the clothing also or no?
Yeah. Clothing go to
So
mikveh
both
too.
has to be.
Yeah.
I have a question, general. Money,
It's very complicated. Very hard.
money. If they touch it, then it becomes because somebody touched
You
it.
gotta go
That
back to
was
COVID time.
for sure tameh. Then if somebody touches it again,
But it's
then they
even
become
you
tameh.
with
You can't
yourself,
touch
you
money.
know?
It depends what kind of tameh it is.
Shirt, you took the
You know
wrong
for
shirt.
sure somebody touched it. That's not tameh.
Okay, we're not finish it. Matkifla Ravushaya. So Ravushaya asks a question, all these cases. Elamata, according to your words, Hoshid Yado Lasar Litol Pat Chitin, Valta Biado Pat Sorim, Achi Nami Denitvet. Wow, this is a good question. Ravushaya says you stretch your hand inside the basket of the bread. You wanted to get wheat, chitin, but you came to your hand by mistake, barley. Should become tameh.
You're not hesachadat because you didn't know what you're going to get.
V'chitema hachinami. If you say that's the case, that's true. V'hatanya v'en the braita.Amishamer techavit bechezrat shel yain. V'nse shel shemen teora miletameh. We have a braita that he has a barrel of wine. He thought it's a barrel of wine. Then he came out, he found out it's a barrel of oil. It's tahor. So you see, it's not. Okay?
Because that time, how should he know? When you're focusing.
That's what he's thinking. That was his thinking. This is yain. So now it's gonna be hesed chadat because it was shemen, it was oil, olive oil, whatever it is, what kind of oil we have. that it's going to become tameh. Now, Gemara asks a question on Rabbi Shaya now. According to you, Emam Sefer. How are you going to understand the Sefer of the Breita? That Breita. He says, Vasuram milechol. That barrel of shemen, oil, is forbidden to be eaten.
What?
The case that he thought is the wine. Then it was oil. The end of the Breita says you cannot eat that oil.
Why not?
That's a question. He was told why you cannot eat it. Am I? Why you cannot eat it? Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Be'omer, you know what's the case? Shemartiha midavar hametamea, velo midavar haposla. You know what's the case over there? That the person who had the chavit, the barrel that he thought is a wine in the beginning, he kept it that it should not become tameh. Oh, I'm sorry. He kept it that it should not make other things tameh, but he did not shomer, watched it from something that only makes that tameh. Wow. So he was careful that it should not become tameh to a tumah, to an impurity, and make some other things also tameh. Let's say I watch this. It shouldn't become to a tumah impurity that if it makes this tameh, other things are going to become tameh too. But he was not careful for a tumah that only makes this tameh, not other things tameh. Okay. Very nice. So therefore, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to Rabbi Oshaya's question? So we go back to Rabbi Oshaya's question now. We answered the Sefer. We had a question on the Sefer. Why is it Asura? Why we cannot eat it? Because it became Pasul. He wasn't careful to make sure it doesn't become Tameh.
So
We go back to Rabbi Oshaya's question. Huh?
to understand that, like, let's say the clothes that they switch, the dim itself, sulim, but they cannot make the person tameh. That's what he said.
No. This answer has nothing to do with the clothing yet. This answer has to do with the Sefer of the Rabbi Oshaya's case. What case of Oshaya case? Case of the wine and the oil.
Eno mitameh,
Okay?
but aval pasul. Hashemen eno mitameh.
So and the Sefer says you cannot drink the shemen. It's tameh. It's pasul. Okay? So why is it pasul? If you're telling me that the Hesed Hadad doesn't make it tameh, why the Sefer says Rabbi Shaya that I cannot use the shemen? Gemara says don't talk about the Sefer, because Sefer we are talking about in a scenario that the person was careful. This barrel of wine should not become tameh that much. Make other things tameh, but he was not careful 100% that the barrel itself doesn't become tameh. Okay, so now we understand. We have an answer for the Sefer. You got right. So now we're gonna go back to the Ushaya's question. Ushaya has a question. In the case of the barrel, I thought is a wine. Now is a shemen. It should become tameh. Why is not tameh? Okay. So Gemara asks a question. This is a question of Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah says the Sefer of the Breita, we're talking about the Shemirah half away, which means you kept it not to become Tameh, to make other things Tameh, but you didn't 100% washed it. It became Tameh itself. Now Gemara asks a question, Umi Ika Netiruta Lefalga? Do we have any Shemirah? Netiruta means Shemirah. Netiruta means watching half away. How does it work? If you make it, you keep it tahor or tameh. You watch it 100% or you don't watch it. There is no such a thing 50-50. How does it work? Gemara says of course we have such a thing. There is such a thing. Tanya, how come we in the Braita? Basal. Somebody stretch his hand inside the basket of figs. That's the case over there. Basket of figs, you put inside hand inside. The hasal al ketefo. And the basket was on his shoulder. The magrefa beto hasal. What is magrefa? Magrefa is the thingy that they use inside the tanur. What do you call it?
Tongue.
No, not the tongue. Like a fork. They stir the coal inside the tanur. That's why that's magrefa. So you have this basket on your shoulder, and there is a magrefa inside the basket. Asal.
Like the thing that they store.
What do you call magrefa over there?
Yes, that's shovel.
Shovel? Okay, shovel.
The
Okay.
thing that they store sometimes inside their attic.
I have no idea what it is. They call magrefa.
This is a shovel that was used to take out the ashes.
Okay, fine. To shovel. So what they did is it's funny. They use this inside the oven, okay, to clean it up. Also, they use it to separate figs where they're attached to each other. Okay, I don't know why you do this. Now now you have figs inside the basket on your shoulder, and you have this shovel. Okay, you want to take some figs. In his heart, he wanted to be careful that the basket should not become tameh. In his mind, he wasn't thinking about the shovel should not become tameh. Hasar tahor. Whoa. Go halfway. Very nice. That's a raya. Okay? This is a raya from this Braita. Your shemira watching works halfway. It works for the basket, but the shovel inside the basket becomes tameh. So you see there is such a thing that you have shemira halfway.
Like you can watch the barrel, but the shaman still gonna be tameh?
No.
What's the difference?
On the seifa of the Braita, we said you could have shemira halfway.
Yeah.
It doesn't make other things tameh, but itself becomes tameh. So you see, his shemira could keep other things not become tameh, but the barrel over there becomes tameh. So we want to prove from here there is ikar netiruta lepalga. There's shemira lachatzain. You could shomer. You could wash something in the same basket. One be tahor, one should be tameh. It depends what you're thinking. Okay. So Gemara asks a question now. Hasal tahor tetameh hamagrefa lasal. So you're telling me the basket is tahor, the shovel becomes tameh. So automatically the basket becomes tameh. You have the shovel inside the basket. What's the case? Gemara says halachot of the tumah ta'arana. Fasten your seatbelt. En keli metame keli. Okay, we have different levels of tumah. Okay, if you have a keli, a vessel, is not of a tumah, it is not of a tumah, then it does not make another keli vessel tameh. Okay. Okay, veli tameh mashe basal. What? Okay, you telling me that the basket itself doesn't become tameh. Two keli, they don't make each other tameh. Because over here we don't have Ava Tuma, the highest level of Tuma. We don't have. Now, what about the figs? Inside the figs are not vessel. So it's going to become Tameh. Gemara says, Amar Ravina be'omes shemartib midavar shemetameo. Velo midavar apostlo. Huh? What?
It was like the same situation.
Right. So he had in mind that the magrefa, the shovel, should not become to a point that becomes tameh, makes other things tameh, but itself could become tameh. That was his intention. Okay? Exactly like the case of the barrel in the Seifa. Okay? That's what it is. So therefore we see over here, we have again Tuma lachatzayin. If there's something makes tameh half away. Okay, very nice. The Gemara, Nikol Makom, once we explain the Braita, is when we kashya. On who? And Rata ben Amram, Rabbi Elazar ben Sadok. Why? Because when they say they change the clothing in the bathhouse, for example, you see from this Braita that Shemira works. Huh? Half away. At least, if you have in mind, this is wine. Now it's Shemen, so it works. Doesn't make other things tameh. Why they said if they exchange their clothing, they become tameh. Even though you think it was something else, you want to take something else. Another question. I don't know if we could finish this or not today. This is minute after sugya. Maybe we will finish the second parak today. This is the end of the second parak. So it's gonna the Tumotare a little bit gonna get easier on the third parak, but don't be so excited. It's gonna be mostly, yeah, Teruma and the other thing. Well, maybe we could do finish the parak today. It's gonna be a hard part. The odd motif. Another question. Motif is question. Rabba bar Abuha, Rabba the son of Abuha, ask a question from the writer. Maaseh be'isha achat. The story about the certain lady. Shabbat lifne Rabbi Ishmael. He came in the front of the Rabbi Ishmael. Va'amra lo, and told him, Rabbi, be'gedzeh araktiv betahora. So I have to give you some hakdama introduction. You have a beget, you have a clothing. It only becomes tameh within a certain size. What is the size? Shalosh espaot by shalosh espaot. 3 fingers by 3 fingers. As long as it's not that size yet, when they are weaving it, so therefore it's not going to be. It's not going to become tameh. So if you have, so she said to him, to Rabbi Ishmael, that at the time, from the beginning of weaving it, I was careful it should not become tameh. Now, but uvelo haya belibi leshomro betahora. But no, I'm so sorry. So nothing tameh touched it since then, but I wasn't careful in my mind. I don't understand. The too much shouldn't come to it. What do you do? Kavana is missing.
Yes, she knows for sure that it didn't touch anything that metameh,
No,
but she
yeah.
didn't have
The intention.
the intention.
Yeah, she wasn't conscious.
Wow.
She knows that if you have safek, if you touch or not, you go lechumra.
But it doesn't have safek. It didn't nothing. Tameh touched it.
Yes, but she didn't have the kavanah to guard it.
Went to sleep. Go to sleep. You don't have kavanah. Okay. But see what happened to Rabbi Ishmael. I like the name of Ishmael, by the way. ומתוך בדיקות שהיה רבי ישמעאל בודקה. So you ask him questions. Ask her questions. אמרה לו רבי נידה מושכה אימי בחבל. At the time of the weaving it, wow, this is going to be very hard. A lady was nida, and when they're doing it, basically they have this machine, they weave with it. And there's a lady over there. She was also stretching basically the strings with me. At that time was a size that it would become tameh, and we are worried at that time when she stretched it and pulled it, she moved and shooken the beged, the clothes, and became tameh. Okay. Now you see how we are Amharis. אמר רבי ישמעאל כמה גדולים דברי חכמים שהיו אומרים בליבו לשומרו טהור אין בליבו לשומרו טמא. So Rabbi Yishmael said, you see from here, if the guy, a lady, whoever it is, has in mind to be careful about it, then we say it's tahor. She doesn't, we say it's tameh. Okay. So therefore, doesn't matter he touched it or not, because after he searched and he said, you see, if you're not, your heart really, you don't have that intention, most probably something happened and you didn't pay attention. Okay. Another case. Shub maaseh beisha achat shebat lifnei Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael. Amru lo Rabba mapa zo araktiha betahura. This mapa is a tablecloth. I don't know what's I think it's tablecloth. What does the Taz mapa over there? Mapa zo araktiha betahura. I wove it purity. Huh?
It says cloth.
Cloth?
Is this cloth I wove them into?
Okay. V'lo haya belibi leshomra. But I didn't have intention to keep it clean, tahor, pure. Umituch bedikot she'aya Rabbi Yishmael botka. So he checked her questions. Amra lo Rabbi, one time before I be with that becomes tameh, which is it doesn't have that size to become tameh. Nima is one string. Nifsekali, it got broken, cut off. Ukshartiga bape, I did make a knot on that string with my mouth. Okay, we are assuming at that time she was nida, and the rook, the saliva in her mouth, made it tameh. Okay.
How come her herself is on the
Okay. Now at that time she did it. It wasn't the size yet. What we are worried for? We are worried that maybe that rook means the saliva from the mouth of her still is wet. At the time it got to the size of the shalosh isbaud, that shalosh isbaud. At the time we get to the size that is going to be right. So that's our worriness. Okay, see how far it goes. אמר רבי ישמעאל כמה גדולים דברי חכמים שהיו אומרים בליבו לשומרו טהור אין בליבו לשומרו טמא. See how big, how important it is, the divrei chachamim, they thought even that way Depends what he's thinking or she's thinking. If you're not really careful, that's the thing. So there's a suffix over here. The second case, there's a suffix. So since there is suffix, they go lechumra. That's what we're saying. Okay. That's why he said. That's right.
It's not like only there when she's in that she's
Okay.
the saliva, if she will take the saliva and leave it on the side after, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
a week, still up to much.
Okay. Right. Okay. David can't wait. Not a good time. No, because it's very hard to get more over here. Very hard. It goes after your intention. You're talking about the purity and impurity, and even though everything is okay, but in your head you weren't careful about it to not become tameh, it becomes tameh because you weren't thinking about it. You call it hesachadat. Okay, so we get to this question on the now. Gemara is going to answer some questions we had, and we're going to still be getting one question. Bishlama, it makes sense. Rabbi Elazar bar Sadok, in the case of the Beit HaMerchas, the bathhouse that the two people, the clothing got mixed up. Kol achad v'achat omeret chaverti eshed amharis. U'masecha da'ato mina. Because in the case of what's the case of the bathhouse? Two ladies went to the bathhouse, even though both of them religious, the clothing get mixed up. She wears the other one. Over there makes sense to say she becomes tameh. Why? Because they don't know that the other person is religious. So in their mind, maybe she's amharis. So therefore, umasecha da'ata mina. They took their mind away, and they didn't keep shemira, watch the clothing as of the other person. I don't understand what exactly happened over here. What time are we talking about? Oh, very nice. Ask one question. So Fudri, mainly they say, as long as you think you wearing your own clothing, it's okay. The problem starts when you realize it's not yours. When you realize it's not yours anymore, so you take your mind away, you don't do any shemira, that's when you become tameh. Okay? The Rabbi Yonatan ben Abraham, case of Rabbi Yonatan ben Abraham. What's the case of Rabbi Yonatan ben Abraham? The case of Rabbi Yonatan ben Abraham was you wanted to take your clothing which is weekday clothing, and by mistake you take the clothing of Shabbat. Okay? In that case, you become tameh. Nami makes sense also. The kelim the Shabbat avel lehu shimur tefe. Masach date minayu. Now, clothing on Shabbat, it seems like you're usually more careful about it. If you deal with them with the less carefulness, because you think they belong to the whole, to weekdays, that having less caution, we're going to make it tameh. Very caution. Now, let's get to the main question now. Ella, the question is Rabbi Yochanan ben Azar, Yonatan ben Azar. The case of the handkerchief, the sudar, fell on the floor, and my friend gave it to me. I don't understand. If my friend picks it up and give it to me, I become tameh. I could have shemira watching it when my friend is holding it. So why I should become tameh? I have in my heart, in my mind, whatever you want to call it, thinking about my clothing, that they shouldn't become tameh. The Gemara says, "Amar Rabbi Yochanan, chazaka en adam mishamer ma'ay shebiyad chavero." A person, there's a chazaka. This is understood. There's a fact. A person is not watching what his friend is holding. As that's called hesachadat. You took your mind away, and it's going to become tameh. Now, Gemara asks a question. Last word of the Chaf Amud Aleph. Velo, a person would not watch something that his friend is holding. Behatanya, we learn the Braita. Braita says, Hare shehayu chamarav ufu'alav. You have chamarav. What's chamarav mean? Donkey driver. Okay, chamor means donkey. Chamar means donkey drivers. So a person has donkey drivers, upo'alav, and his workers. And they are amharis, okay? They are not careful on the halachot tumah tahara. Te'unin teharot. They are carrying certain foods which they are tahor, clean, okay? Like they are pure. Tahor means pure. Like wine, which is inside a certain barrel, which is the open. Even though they went away so far, more than a mil, means the measurement, okay? Tahorotav tehorot. We are not choshesh, we are not worried that they touch it. Why? The Mepharshim explain over here that because he did not tell them that I'm far away from you, they still are scared, they're not going to touch it. He told them, you go, I come later. Once he cannot see them anymore, but his Torah is going to become tameh. So therefore, we are worried that they touched it. So what you see over here, if my friend holding something, even though they're amhares, we are not worried they become tameh. They're holding it. I'm not holding it. My shena resha, my shena sefa. Right? What's the difference? Why in the first case we say it works, the second say we don't, we say it doesn't work. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Fakheri said, Resha, beginning of the Braita, that the tahor, the metaher chamara u'fa'arav bekach. What's the case over here? They're talking about the, I guess everyone became tahor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but then why do you even bring it as a...
Okay, so they are amhares, but we made sure that they are tahor. Even they're going to touch it, it's not going to be a problem. Okay? So Gemara says, Ihachi, that's the case. Sefanami. Same thing. Why you are worried they're going to go right away, all the way, far away? You are worried about that they're going to touch it and become tameh? He says, Gemara says, En amhares makrid al maga chavero. A person, amhares, is not a chaver, so religious, he's not careful, and somebody is not tahor, come touch what he has. So therefore, we are worried somebody else, which is amhares, would come touch the stuff they have. Ihachis, that's the case. We are worried about another person come touch it. Reshanami. Reshanami. So we are worried that another person is not careful, come touch it. Gemara says, so they're worried that the owner would come all of a sudden, and they're worried and they're careful. So what? The sefer also, the owner might come. So Gemara says, Kevan de Amar Lehu, since Lechu v'ani abu acharechem, I come later on, they know he's not coming. Mismach samcha da'atahu. So therefore, we are choshesh that Amhar is going to touch it. Now, what's the answer for our question now? Huh?
The question was, can somebody watch something in his
His friend, right. Right. Was که مسکن of the Gemara? Anyway, hadran alach en dorshin, hadran chalan en dorshin, hadran chalan en dorshin. We finished the second parak of the Chagiga.
Well, how about the end? If your friend is holding something,
I have no idea yet. That's we have to figure out that question we had. I don't know that question yet, but we have 7 more daf. We finished 20 daf and 7 more daf. We finished 2/3, more than 2/3. Okay, now let's just figure out the question we have.
From the Braita, it seems like they cannot make it impure by themselves.
No, but Shapraita, you see, it works. Even though I'm not holding it right now.
I'm still watching it. They cannot make it a mess.
Right. So I could watch something my friend is holding. So what's going to be the answer for the question?
Not next to them.
Right.
As long as you have more around them,
Right. Right. Right.
what does that mean? If you turn around,
As long as they are worried that you might come, it's not going to become tameh.
Yeah, but then your friend is next to you.
I understand. I know, but right. But the case was in a the case that it fell down from his hand. Okay, when it fell down from his hand, it because he's not holding it, it should become tameh. How is it become tameh? Just this case, you see, even though my friend is holding it, and they are worried, I'm gonna get there, they're not gonna touch it. What?
What he says here, Rabbi Yitzchak Fakheri, that talks about somebody that made sure that his poalav are tehurim, that they are tehurim.
Who said it's not Torah over here?
We didn't make sure. We didn't ask the friend, are you tahor? We didn't make sure that the friend that touched it is tahor.
So if you don't ask
here
him,
in the Braita, it says that he made sure that הוא הטביל אותם כדי שיהיו טהורים, כדי שלא יטמאו את זה. Say again? I'm sorry, again.
So once you add, you make sure. Once you make sure they are tahor, you'll be fine.
Yes.
That's why it is. Interesting. Once you. Okay. Anyway, we finished the second parak. Baruch Hashem. Soon we're gonna give siyum. Okay, maybe 2 bishvat. Okay, the question is next week. What we're gonna do? First of all, next week Tuesday and Wednesday, or maybe Thursday also. I don't know when by the time I come back on Thursday. I'm not gonna be here.
I won't be here probably Wednesday.
Okay. Huh?
Kids are off.
The kids are off. Yeah. I'm going to San Diego for 2 days. But the question in general, the Micha is getting late and later. What are we gonna do? That's the question. I said today we start 5:35. Next week we're gonna be at least 5:40. That's gonna be the tough part. You could dominate RV 6:30.
Yeah.
If we start 5:30 in the side room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we do halacha first or kuzari first, whatever. Then we're moving for the Gemara. It's okay?
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, we have Sunday and Monday only next week. It seems like. Okay, Hashem Yazur. See what Hashem wants. Okay, let's back to our discussion. We're going to do halacha now. We have a few minutes to Arvit, 6 minutes. Now we talked about yesterday that we have a cluster of grapes, and some grapes are bad. You cannot take the bad off and to bring it to the table. If anything you want to do, you could take off the good ones, which is almost people that don't want to do it that way, so you don't bring it to the table anyway. Now, huh?
Bring the whole thing.
I know, but the people that don't want to, yeah, they don't want to bring it. Okay, we're not talking about. We're gonna see about washing it, how you wash it. Then we're gonna talk. We're talking about some grapes are bad. That's the case. What are you gonna do? Okay, that's the question. Now we're gonna talking about the lettuce. You want to wash it on Shabbat. Okay. Okay. So you have to help him with some words now. Avi, Hebrew words. Okay. ומותר וצריך לבדוק את עלי החצה אם אין עליהם חרקים למיניהם. Okay? What's חרקים? Bugs. You could do it, you could check it on Shabbat if there is no חרקים. כשימצא חרק גדול מותר להסירו, החרק עומד בפני עצמו. If the bug is too big, no problem.
So why are you checking it?
Huh? No. You have to check it before Shabbat.
Okay.
That's what you should do. Now you didn't check it. Now on Shabbat you come check it. There is no problem if the bug is too big. You could wash it off and it's going to go away. Okay? But it's better better you do it, you take it away with a little bit of the lettuce. Don't take only the bug. Okay? אבל חרקים קטנים הדבוקים בעלי החצה אסור להסירם לבדם. כי יש בהסרתם משום איסור ברירה. וחייבים להסירם יחד עם כסד מן העלה. So therefore you cannot just take the small bugs by itself. You have to take it away with a little bit of the lettuce.
But if you wash the lettuce and they just
Okay, that's that washing we have to wait. Okay. ומותר להסיר את הקנימות שעל גבי קליפת פרי הדר או אלה שהועברו לפרי עצמו. בדינה לעניין זה כדין חרק גדול שנמצא על החצה וגם על זה טוב יעשה ישים הקנימות עם כסד מן הפרי על הקליפה. What is קנימות? הקנימות. You don't know what it is? So there is some קנימות on the peel of the peri hadar. What is peri hadar? Like the oranges. Okay. Over here you could do it. I don't know what kenimot is. What is kenimot? Huh? No, a cup, yes. Kenimot, yeah.
it's like a worm.
Worm? Insect.
What is insect? Worm?
Huh?
Yeah.
Those are like little bugs, like a fly.
Is a certain kind of the insect. Esternorhincha. What is that? I don't know what it is even.
Could be like a fruit bug.
It's on the peel of the.
Yeah, so probably a fruit bug.
Okay.
But it says some of them go on the tree itself also, no?
Huh?
So that some of them also
بگن او اله شعور لیفته اسمو بدونن is on the peel. توب شیعسه این مسیح کنیمود این که سن میپری اگلیفا. That's also is better to be moved with certain basically the part of the peel. و این به خزونیش says שכתב שמותר להסיר זבוב או שער מוקצה מן הכוס והקיاره. According to Chazonish, when you have, this is going to be one of the kulot the Chazonish has. Usually the Chazonish is very machmir. He has one of the leniencies he has. You have a fly falls into your soup. What do you do? Okay, these days people to put the soup in the garbage. No, nobody eats it. Okay, but what did they used to do? They put the bug away and eat the soup. That's how I used to. Yeah. So Chazon Ish says you don't need to. Just the bark, put it in the garbage. Yeah. כשם בזה איסור משום בורר. איזה משום טלטול מוקצה, שכל שהאוכל מתעכב על ידי המוקצה, מותר להרביץ של המוקצה. He's not מוקצה, he's not borer either, according to Chazon Ish. Why? That's how you eat. Okay? That's how you eat. He's not considered מוקצה. You could take away the מוקצה and eat the food. שלא גזרו חכמים על זה משום מוקצה. According to Chazon Ish. Other poskim, they hold, no, you cannot do this. You have to make sure you take it away with some food. So therefore, you take a spoon, take some soup with it, some food with it, and put it inside the garbage. What is it called? Plant lice.
Like lice for your hair, but not for your plants.
What is it? You saw the name?
Yeah, it's an actual.
Kenimot?
What is it for food? It looks like actual little.
Kenimot? To me, it
See
sounds
the
in the
picture of
beginning
what it
like
is.
Ina, like lice. But I
See
said
the-
Okay.
You want to see what it is? This is what it is. See that brown on it? See? So we don't know.